Hello everyone, welcome to Entertainment Tonight. Now we'll be talking about the polio epidemic, how it's affected lives, who it's affected, how it's caused, and many more. We have interviews from Dr. Dillard, Dr. Adeyemi Akingbade, and Dr. Kia Robinson. Enjoy!
Hi, we're here with Ms. Dillard. She's a doctor. She knows a lot about the polio virus. Hi, Dylan.
Hi.
Can you please tell me some ways of transmitting the polio virus?
In the poliomyelitis disease, the most common form of transmission is through fecal-oral. There are other types of transmission which we don't have to go into, but the main type of transmission is fecal-oral. It's when this happens when a pathogen invades a host in the fecal-oral matter and they bind to the fecal-oral and they try to find another host. That's how it spreads. So fecal-oral, it enters through the mouth and it multiplies in the throat. It can stay in the throat for up to several weeks. So.
Very.
Okay, so we're here with Dr. Adeyemi Akingbade, and we're just here to talk about, she's a physician, she's been a part of the polio epidemic, so we just want to ask her a few questions about, what the cause of polio is, who's affected by it, who's died from it, and, just like how it's been like a sporadic epidemic. So first, welcome, Yemi. Thank you for joining us. Excuse me, Dr. Akingbade.
Thank you for having me.
So, no problem. So, what is the epidemiology of polio?
Well, polio occurred in the early 1700s. That was like when it was first brought up. But it occurred in England, But polio really it's a single-stranded RNA virus from the family of, Pigornaviridae and genus Enterovirus. The polio virus lives in the intestinal tract and also in the mucus in the nose and the throat.
Okay, so what is the cause? Like, what is caused by polio? Like, how is it? What is caused by polio?
That makes no sense.
I mean, how is polio? What is the etiology of polio? Okay.
Yeah.
So who has been affected by polio?
Well, a lot of people, honestly, a lot of people have. So, many people die from it all the time, but 2 to 5% of people who die, 2 to 5% of children are affected by polio, die. Okay. And 15 to 30% of adults affected by polio, they die too. So, in when I studied, 1952-ish, there were 58,000 cases recorded about polio. But it was 3,140-something people who actually died. And there was 21,000 and something who were just affected and were left with, they were disabled and they were paralyzed. So yeah, that's really, okay, so yeah.
3.
So there were many effects from polio. So can you please tell me some social effects?
Yes, the poliomyelitis disease affected many people, caused many social problems. One of them was the quarantine and isolation social effect. It took children out of their homes, separated them, made them feel unwanted, and just simply took their childhood away, and it wasn't even their fault. Another social effect was it caused hysteria, and many people panicked because nobody really knew the actual cause of the disease. So people just panicked and they acted out of hysteria. And a certain example was a father took his children, wouldn't let his wouldn't let his children play in the sandbox and wouldn't let them be actual children. It stripped many children of their childhoods, out of their parents. Many people were just ignorant of the situations. Now we have a better understanding of the disease. the viral disease, the cause, where it came from, and how the vaccinations can help eradicate it from the planet.
Thank you so much, Miss Dr. Dixon.
So, with polio being so, obviously polio has hit, certain areas faster than others. How has polio become a sporadic epidemic?
It's become sporadic because, like, during the 1990s, it hit many small localized epidemics. They appeared in Europe and the U.S. Even when I was back in the day, in the 1950s, there were serious outbreaks in like all the different states, and Puerto Rico. Hi, we're here with Kia Robinson today. She was a nurse who treated many polio victims. Hi, Kia.
Hello.
Hi. Can you please tell me some ways in which polio affected children?
Sure, so ways polio affected children were the children ended up with paralysis, which is the loss of muscle function. The children had a lot of emotional distress, and they were separated from their families for a long period.
Can you please also explain to me the experimental studies conducted by Comer, Sabin, and Salk?
Yeah, Comer, his experiment was used for children who had polio, and he conducted an experiment that had a lot of negative results, which means that the children ended up paralyzed or dead, and the vaccine that he used was to cause immunity to polio.
Okay. Can you also please explain to me about Salk studies?
Sure. Salk's study was his vaccine consisted of chemically killed viruses, which primes the immune system to recognize the virus and eliminate it. And Sabin's experiment? Yes, Sabin's. His was vaccines that was given orally and contained attenuated live. It contained the attenuated live virus.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and the attenuated virus wasn't strong enough to cause paralysis, and he didn't understand why the Americans were getting polio and people from the Midwest wasn't. Mideast.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Kia.
Wow, that was a lot of good information. Polio immunization, also known as inactivated polio vaccine, should begin during infancy up to at least 4 years old. Most schools in the United States will not let the child enter the school until they have had a vaccine from polio. The herd immunity for polio is about 80 to 86%. So countries still affected by polio are Pakistan, India, Nigeria, and Afghanistan. Once those 4